Okay, hello, folks. We're live from West Virginia, Maple Fork Lodge here, and I appreciate you all being on today. I'm trying to get everything arranged here. It's an interesting setup. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my wife for and my son Nathan for moderating and keeping the trolls at bay. And so we're going to have a quick. I've only got about 35 minutes this morning, so we're going to get to it quick. First of all, we said that we would give away this book today to one of our viewers. And I just wanted to say, we're trying to figure out how best to do this. So here's what we're going to do. For anybody who donates anything of any amount today on the live, during the live show, not after, if you watch it later, doesn't count. But anybody who donates anything today, what we're going to do is we're going to give that to these kids that we're supporting down in Cartagena, Colombia for Christmas. I have been having to send a tremendous amount of money down there lately, and I'll show you why. First of all, if you don't know the whole story, the woman, single mom that we were supporting down there got arrested because she was taking her kids with her as she went downtown to beg and sell candy and stuff at night. And so they arrested her because she had her kids with her for trafficking. It really was more like she didn't have any health care. Not health care. She didn't have any child care. But, so we're trying to help her get out of jail. She wasn't trafficking her kids. She was just trying to make enough money to survive. We have been paying for her housing for the last, 3 years probably. And so thank you, Kevin. So thank you, Morgan. So we have been helping them for about 3 years with their housing, but now she's in jail and we have to help pay for a lawyer, which has been pretty expensive. And in addition to that, her sister who lives with her is 18 years old and she's pregnant. Another single mom. We've been trying to break this cycle. It's just very, very difficult to break because only U.S. shipping, Mom says. Okay. Could you ask her for some tea? So we wanted to, you hear Ellie upstairs. She's going down for a nap and she's not happy. This kind of vicious cycle is very hard to break. These Venezuelan girls, they just don't know anything else than you grow up, you hit puberty, you get pregnant, you have babies, the guy never stays around, and that's just sad. That's just sad. So we are trying to work with them to educate them and help them kind of get out of that cycle. But the problem is, we still have to try to take care of the little single moms. The kids are now staying with a pastor lady. This is a lady who started a little church in a bad neighborhood in Cartagena. And it's all women. Matter of fact, I have some video of the church I can show you. Here's them having their little praise and worship time. You see how small this church is. It's like, 10 feet wide. And this is their worship time. These are the 6 kids here. And as you can see, all women in the church. It's a very, very sad thing. No men, there should be men in the church, but there are not. And so these kids are right now actually staying in the church, sleeping on the floor of the church. And we have been working to get them another apartment, someplace to stay. And we've already sent money for that. So we're not only sending money for the pastor lady to take care of the kids, but also to help the kids get a place to live. And now this sister of the single mom we're taking care of is getting ready to have her baby any minute in the hospital. And so we're paying for the hospital bill for that as well. And they sent the mom home. She was having contractions. They said the baby's not ready yet, but the mom is malnourished and told her not to, or told her to go home and to eat better, but she doesn't have any food, any good healthy food. So we are helping her get some healthy food. And so anyway, all of that is expensive. So what we're doing today is we're going to give away this book. This is a signed copy of Oliver North's book that I helped him write, called American Heroes in the War Against Radical Islam. It's got both our signatures here in the front, and we're going to give it away to somebody who donates. We're kind of raffling off this book, and the money that is donated for this book today is going to go to those kids to help them have at least something for Christmas. Hopefully food is one of those somethings. And okay, so that's enough about that. Let's talk about what's going on quickly in Gaza. The Israelis are pushing, are doing very well actually in northern Gaza. They've actually pushed into Jabalia up here in the north. If you look there in the north, you can kind of see that lighter blue where they've taken over Jabalia now. And so Keith and Mary asks, how frequent was rocket fire towards Israel before October? Gaza was firing about 2,000 rockets a year toward Israel prior to the war, and they've fired 10,500 or more toward Israel since the war began. Yesterday, there were no rockets for the first time since the ceasefire, and that was great, except today they made up for that. They have fired a tremendous number of rockets. Today, both of these here, you see there, all of those places are under rocket warnings, and people are having to take shelter. More than 5 million Israelis are having to take shelter today because of rockets out of Gaza. And that was in the south, Ashkelon. This is up in the north, Tel Aviv and Ashdod. So big rocket fire today. Now that only represents maybe about 20 total rockets, but those show that because they're unguided rockets, Israel usually is pretty good about figuring out where those rockets are going to go, but sometimes they don't know. And so they, out of an abundance of caution, will tell a bunch of places to get to shelter. So far, no word on any injuries from that. Now, what I really wanted to talk about, though, is up in the north, because up in the north, Sunflower says, can Iron Dome, Sunflower, if you're asking a question, it helps for you to put the word question and put your question all in caps. It makes it easier for me to read. Can Iron Dome keep up with all the rocket fire? They don't have to, because of the 10,500 rockets that have been fired since October 7th, only about 2,000 of those have been headed toward a place that's a built-up area where people might get hurt. And so because of that, Israel tracks those rockets as they're incoming and then decides which ones to shoot down by their computer system, and they only have to shoot down the ones that are overpopulated areas. That means, again, there have been 10,500 fired and only about 2,000 and change shot down, and about 95% accuracy with the Iron Dome system. So let's see here. Thank you for blessing the children, everybody. We're going to send this to them to make sure that they can have a nice Christmas, and that's great. So where's the other question I saw? Are they still filling the tunnels with seawater? I believe they are, but not at a very high rate. And I'm not sure if they've... At first, they were having pretty good success with that. A lot of guys coming out of the tunnels. That's part of what helped them push into Jabalia and take over kind of the worst areas of Gaza City in the north. If you see, Gaza City is almost completely blue now because they have taken over the worst areas, and that's partially due to the fact that they were able to fill some of those tunnels with seawater and force people out of them. They say that in taking Jabalia, they had, over the last week, they have killed more than 1,000 Hamas fighters in that area, and they have captured hundreds more. So 1,000 fighters killed among Hamas, 1,000 Hamas bodies in Jabalia alone. And so, you know, when you see the numbers of dead coming out of the Gaza Health Ministry, they don't break out the number of fighters versus the number of civilians. They just call them all civilians. Israel says, well, if those are the numbers, we're going to call them all fighters because we're not targeting civilians. And there have been civilians killed, but they are being killed in places where they have been told to leave for a long time, where Israel has said, we are coming into this area, we're going to be fighting in this area. If you're in this area, you're going to be at risk. Leave now, and they don't leave. And so if they don't leave and they get killed in there, Israel's like, we told you to leave. We told you we were coming in. So, anyway, you know, a lot of people have said that by going into Gaza, by going so hard against Hamas, that we're just creating more terrorists because we're making, you know, the jihadis more angry at us. And my answer to that is, you know, I don't know that you could make them more angry at us. These people hate Israel and the United States with a deep and abiding passion, a burning of 1,000 suns already. And so if it's 1,001 suns because of what they're doing going into Gaza, I don't think that really matters all that much. There are certainly groups like Al-Qaeda all over the world. I mean, they have Al-Qaeda in Yemen, Al-Qaeda in you know, Iraq, Al-Qaeda all over the place. They have ISIS in Iraq and ISIS in different places, Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab in Somalia. They're all using this war to recruit and call for violence against the United States and Israel. And we will see an uptick. We are seeing an uptick in violence that is perpetrated by jihadi Muslims around the world. We're seeing this in Canada, of all places. We're seeing it in Europe. We're seeing it in the United States. So the violence will increase, as it always does. But that's just an inflammation of the hatred that's already there. We're not going to make them hate us anymore. I heard 2 Iron Domes were destroyed by Hezbollah. Is that true? Therese, no, that I really highly doubt that. The rockets that Hezbollah are firing so far have been unguided, and the only guided thing that they're firing are anti-tank guided missiles. I've seen some videos of those. They seem, some of them hit the towers that they're aiming at, but some of them miss in the videos. You can see that they miss. And they are not putting the Iron Dome system close enough to be seen. An anti-tank guided missile can only shoot at something that it can literally see. It needs direct line of sight. And they're not putting the Iron Dome systems that close to the border, within sight of the border. They don't need to. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't be helpful for them to put them so close to the border because they need a little extra time for the missiles to fly so that they can chart the trajectory and fire the anti-missile missiles at the ones coming from Lebanon. So I really highly doubt that they're destroying Iron Dome systems in the north, okay? Thank you all for watching. We are, again, raffling this book. But again, just any donation of any amount, we're going to give the donations to these girls down in Colombia and give away this book at the end of the thing. We're just trying to figure out some reasonable way to give this thing away on today's thing, and that was the best that we could come up with. I even asked ChatGPT how we should give it away, and it thought this was a good idea. The raffle was a good idea. So let's see. Now, let's go talk about what's happening in the north. First of all, Israel is striking in Syria against Hezbollah and Iran. And what happened was Israel has been bombing airfields around Syria since the beginning of this war. Why? Because Iran is attempting to move weapons into Syria so that they can move them into Lebanon to give to Hezbollah. And Israel has good signals intelligence and human intelligence inside Syria, so they know when these planes are landing and where they're landing with weapons for Lebanon, and then they go and bomb those airfields and take out the airfields so they can't do that. The Syrians have been fixing the airfields, especially in Damascus, so that they can be used again, and every time they get them fixed, then the Israelis go in and hammer the airfield again. This last strike on the airfield in Damascus, I read that they took out not only the airstrip, they dropped bombs on the airstrip to put big craters in the airstrip so they can't land airplanes, but they took out the control tower as well as some of the hangars. So that will make it very, very difficult for them to get any airplanes in there at all for a long time. It's going to take them a long time to rebuild the control tower. And so they are, Israel is committed to making sure that none of the weapons that Iran is trying to get to Lebanon will actually get there. And what that's led to is the Hezbollah, it discourages Hezbollah from continuing their attacks. Even though they have a lot of rockets, they have a lot of missiles, they say 150,000 in Lebanon already. Lebanon, the Hezbollah fighters have been firing those rockets from the north every day, and they are kind of slowing down a little bit. Thank you for all your gifts. They're very generous. Lamort, that's very kind, and Shawnee. So the attacking Hezbollah is not all in Lebanon. They're attacking them in Syria and stopping them from being able to have this. Iran has wanted what they call a Iranian crescent for a long time. That Iranian crescent means a land bridge from Iran all the way through Syria into Lebanon so that they can more easily move weapons in there. And Israel has for a long time been thwarting that. Every time they get close to having some, getting some weapons into Lebanon, the Israelis go and hit those convoys or hit those airfields and knock them out. So this has been going on long before this war started, but it's ramped up since then. So Iran was sending weapons to these militias called Hashishabi in Iraq and trying to get those into Syria, those weapons into Syria from Iraq, and then into the West Bank through Jordan. And Jordan actually stepped up and fought on the side of Israel. Did you guys read about this? Anybody hear about this? Jordan, which is a Hashemite kingdom, it's a Muslim country that's Palestinian. The Queen of Jordan is straight up Palestinian, Queen Aliyah. And yet Jordan has a peace treaty with Israel, and they are not allowing weapons to go through Jordan into the West Bank or into Lebanon or anything, because they don't want to get bombed by Israel. They don't want to get dragged into this by Israel. So they actually conducted airstrikes on the smugglers that were trying to get weapons across their northern border into Israel, into Jordan, and then into the West Bank. They were trying to get those weapons in there because, again, probably the most dangerous front in this war right now for Israelis is the West Bank. And they already have a bunch of weapons in there, but they don't have a lot of rockets or anything like that to speak of. And so the Israelis have been keeping a close eye on that. And it's likely that either Israel or the United States provided the intelligence to Jordan that told them that, hey, we see these weapons coming across your border on their way to the West Bank. And if you don't do something about that, we may have to. And so Jordan conducted airstrikes inside their own country on smugglers. They're actually drug smugglers who typically are smuggling drugs out of Syria. But they conducted airstrikes and took out the problem. That's a very good sign. That means that Jordan is committed, at the very least, to not getting involved in this conflict. But in the north, now here's what I want to show you. On the northern border here, okay, so this area in blue, so green is in the northern part there, that green is Lebanon, gray is Israel, and the blue area along the border is the area that has been evacuated. And so there's about 80,000 Israelis that have been taken out of that area along the border and are now living in hotels all around Israel. We have in the last few weeks, you guys donated a bunch of money very generously, and we went and bought toys for the kids in one of the hotels that have been evacuated out of the north. So that was very kind of you, and they loved it. You can go see that if you missed it. It's on my website, chuckholton.com, and it's on my Hot Zone podcast here. You can go look it up. And if you haven't gone over and subscribed on my website, the locals page, you can get there by chuckholton.locals.com or just chuckholton.com, and you can subscribe there. I'm putting a lot more video of the fighting in Gaza, of what's happening in the north, what's happening in Yemen, all of that I'm putting up on my website. But look here at this map of the northern border. You see here, the border with Syria is red. The border with Jordan is green on the bottom, and the border with Lebanon is green on the top. Now, down here south of Lake Tiberias, where Jordan hits Israel, that is the border between Jordan and the West Bank. And so we saw these weapons coming from Syria, right here, the red part, right along that border, and headed down to the south to go into the West Bank. But what we've also seen is, let's see if I have this. No, there's Gaza. I think maybe I ran out of time. Yeah, that's the church. Yeah, oh, there it is. Okay, that's what I was looking for. This is a live UA map showing the number of strikes in blue that Israel has done against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon over the last 24 hours. And you can see there have been a lot more blue strikes than red strikes. The red strikes are attacks by Hezbollah on Israel. And you can tell the ones that were incoming fire, like rockets, and the ones that were, you can see here, are a anti-tank guided missile attack. This is like an explosion that happened. These are rocket attacks here, and all of these blue dots are attacks by Israel on Lebanon. So it looks to me like Israel is actually striking hard inside Lebanon to sort of discourage the Hezbollah fighters from ramping up their attacks, and B, to possibly soften up the defense if Israel has to go into southern Lebanon, which we may see happening in the coming weeks. Israel, again, like I talked about yesterday, feeling the pressure of the international community to declare a permanent ceasefire, and that pressure is ramping up every day. Israel, it knows if we're going to take care of Hezbollah, we're going to have to do it quick. And so they are preparing the battlefield in the north right now, and hitting all those sites. Those sites are not all sites that Hezbollah was firing from. Those are sites that Israel has determined are military sites that belong to Hezbollah. So they could be storage facilities, logistical sites, they could be headquarters compounds, and they could be places where Hezbollah fighters congregate. And they could also be places that have rockets or missiles or drones or launching or something like that. Suffice it to say that Israel is not waiting around to see if Hezbollah is going to attack. They are striking first and striking hard. And I think that, again, reading between the lines, that might actually mean that we will see Israel moving into Lebanon in the coming weeks. They are making good progress in the south. They've still got a long way to go. They're not done in the south by any stretch. There's still hard fighting happening in Gaza. If you look at the, down here around Khan Yunis, the kind of green area is area where the IDF has moved into. And so there's a lot of territory still left that is not covered, or that it's not controlled by the IDF, and they have said they're not going to stop until they control all of Gaza. So they've probably controlled about 25% to this point, and they've got a long way to go. So, all right, so that is about all. So let's see if Connie's writing down furiously. If you have any last minute donations you want to get in and get your name in the hat for this Oliver North book, and again, donate to help those girls and down in Colombia have a good Christmas. We'll be giving this away here very quickly. Do you think every country has gone against Israel in some way yet? Yeah, that's a good question. How is the flooding going in the tunnels? I haven't heard lately how it's going, Lisa, but they are still flooding the tunnels as far as I know. I have not heard from, I had some pretty good inside sources on the tunnel flooding issue. And I'm talking about personal friends who were literally involved in that whole thing. And so I have not heard from them that anything has changed as far as that they've stopped doing anything like that. Was there a shipping port in Gaza? No, there was not. Israel offered to build one for the Palestinians, and they turned it down. Israel literally offered to build them a base, and they offered to turn it down. Does Russia have a naval base in Syria? They kind of have been building one in the northern part of Syria, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a Russian base. I'd say they've got some ships there, but I wouldn't call it a Russian base at this point. Okay, so that's about it. Honey, let's cut it off and let's draw a winner for the American Heroes book, American Heroes in the Fight Against Radical Islam. This again signed by myself and by Colonel North because we both worked on the book. I took many of the pictures in this book, and this is basically a story about Oliver North and I traveling into Afghanistan and Iraq during the War on Terror. Some of our trips there, Colonel North and I probably made a dozen trips to the war zone in Afghanistan and 15 trips to Iraq during the war. Well, maybe a dozen trips during the war and several trips afterwards. And so this is our story about our experience in combat during the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's a great book. It's got lots of pictures. If you know any Marines, Marines need pictures. And I'm just joking. Colonel North is a Marine. So just kidding. If you're a Marine, don't be mad. I love Marines, and there's a lot of Marines in this book. So let's see if we can draw a winner. Oh, here comes my wife.
All right, so here's the plan, I think.
Okay.
Is the plan.
Whoop.
All right, so guys, I got your names here. All right, so what we're going to do is, as soon as we decide who, we make the drawing, I want you to email me quick at hotzoneholton.com.
Hotzoneholton@gmail.com.
Yes, thank you. And then in the chat on this live hit, I want you to give me one little snippet of your address, just to verify, like your
just so we know
address or your
here comes the babies
town or whatever. But I want to read off some of the names so that you know that we're doing this right. We've got Suzanne Carter. We've got two Peters with so many vowels in their last name.
Yeah, they must be Polish.
Woo! Anyway,
they look
a lot
Polish.
of them. Okay, so we have Gretchen Chang and Linda Osborne and Joe Roberts and Susan Means and Deanne Lewis. And so I got everybody's name. Morgan Edwards, John Gall.
Here,
okay,
come here, baby.
So here's the rest of them here. We've got them all in here. We're going to have a baby draw a name. As soon as your name is called, please email me at hotzoneholton.com with your full mailing address. And then give me a little snippet in the top chat here. There's
Okay.
the chat. Okay.
Here,
Ellie, you going to
here
draw?
go, Ellie.
You going to pick one?
Here go, Ellie.
All
Come
right,
on,
pumpkin,
pick one out. Come
Ooh,
on.
have fun.
Yay!
Just
Come on,
one.
pull it out.
Can you get just
Pull it
one?
out.
Can you get
Pull it
just
out.
one?
She's trying.
She's trying to get a hold of
Oh,
it. Oh, baby, go.
there. Okay. Oh, she's just playing with them now.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Who is it,
She
Ellie?
got it. Yay!
Who is it,
It
Ellie?
is Holly Bell Gilmore.
All right, Holly, email me
Yay.
quick at hotzoneholton.com.
Holly Bell Gilmore.
And
Congratulations.
then in the chat, just give me one little
here, Paulo.
snippet of your address so that I can verify that the email is coming.
Yay!
All right.
Yay! All right, say Merry Christmas. Say Merry
All right,
Christmas.
hold
Whoop.
on. If Holly doesn't get in the chat here, we're going to have to draw another name. Holly, you still there?
Come on, Holly Gilmore.
Holly, are you still there? Holly, Holly, Holly. Okay, hold
Well,
on, folks.
no. Well, that's.
Let me go get my...
Come on, Holly. Speak up. Speak up. My chat's working. Oh, what's the matter?
Say okay. Holly says it's Oak Street.
Okay,
Hi,
great.
Holly.
Yay!
That's gonna go in the mail today. All right, congratulations. Thank you everyone for your donations. Say hello. My whole family is standing in the office right now.
Well, not quite the whole
Not
family.
quite the whole family, but a
We
bunch
got
of us.
Amy and Mason and Kieran
and
Parker over there.
Oh, we're missing Grace.
And we're missing Grace. And we got Ellie and Apollo here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
Merry
very much.
Christmas.
God bless
Thank
you.
so much.
We'll
Merry
see you later.
Christmas.
Bye-bye.